Are you tired, TikTakers? Feel like taking a good nap? Sleeping certainly is one of the best things life has to offer. But hey, don't go to sleep yet. Wait until the end of the video. Maybe some of you struggle more to fall asleep. You have probably heard the typical, "Why don't you try counting sheep?" It sounds a bit strange, right? Where does that tradition come from? Well, like many others, this one has different points of origin. A classical Greek legend tells how Morpheus, god of dreams, was able to make humans fall asleep easily until one day his powers no longer had effect on them. After coming down to Earth, he discovered that humans were so worried with their day-to-day problems that they couldn't help but keep thinking about them at night. Trying to find a solution, Morpheus found a shepherd with his flock of sheep trying to cross a river. While the sheep were crossing, the shepherd kept counting them one by one as they got to the other side of the river. Morpheus waited for the shepherd to finish, but the whole scene was so monotonous that he fell asleep. When he woke up, he realized he had found a solution and told humans about it so they could sleep and dream again. The oldest written reference goes back to the 12th century book Disciplina Clericalis by the Spaniard Pedro Alfonso de Huesca. In the book, a legend tells how a king suffered from insomnia and called a famous storyteller to tell him fables each night. The storyteller started by telling the king short stories, but the king still could not fall asleep. Then the storyteller tried making up a much longer story, one without an end. Just as it happened with Morpheus, in the story there was a shepherd with a flock of 2,000 sheep. So, to cross the river, the shepherd had to use a small boat that would only fit 2 sheep at a time. And he had to keep counting them not to lose a single sheep. Thus, the storyteller kept enumerating and making the story longer until the king finally fell asleep. This legend became very popular in all of Europe. So much that it is mentioned in Don Quixote by Cervantes, where Sancho explains a similar story, but with goats instead of sheep. Parents started to use counting sheep with restless kids who every night asked to hear one story after another. In another version of the story, the shepherd has to get his flock to the top of a mountain, getting over a fence. And that's where the classic image of the sheep jumping over a fence comes from. However, does this method really work? Many studies have concluded that counting sheep is not effective at all. This is because imagining sheep jumping over a fence ends up being so boring that we simply stop doing it. Also, when we force our brain to keep counting, all we are doing is keeping our brain active instead of letting it rest. Now, TikTakers, if any of you happen to suffer from insomnia, we will give you a piece of advice that hopefully works for you. The same studies that we mentioned before also proved that if you imagine idyllic places that are relaxing to you, then it is more likely for you to fall asleep. Scenes like that occupy more space in your subconscious mind and entertain you in a simpler way, which helps you relax and fall asleep more easily. Okay, now you can go ahead and have a good nap. Sweet dreams, TikTakers! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!